Movie review. Deliver Me From Nowhere, Bruce Springsteen story, written and directed by Scott Cooper, starring Jeremy Allen White as Springsteen and Jeremy Strong as John Landau, his manager. What's it like? Is it any good? Should you spend your money? Stick around and you'll find out. I went to see this movie at the Everyman Cinema in Oxted. Nearly 20 quid for a ticket, can you imagine? But incredibly comfortable. Red sofas, and they bring you food. Well, you've got to pay for it, but they bring you food before the movie starts. It's a wonderful experience, but it's not cheap. Anyway, this film is about a particular period in Springsteen's life, around about 1982, thereabouts, during the making of Nebraska. And it's a bit like the Bob Dylan biopic with Timothy Chalamet. It focuses on a small part of Springsteen's life. Now, before I went to see it, I thought, a biopic of somebody who's still alive, is this just going to be glorified karaoke? And I just wasn't sure about the film. Now, what it does, as I say, it focuses. Springsteen. It starts. He's actually on stage singing "Born in the USA," or rather, Jeremy Allen White is. And the first sort of 15, 20 minutes, I thought, I don't really know where this film is going. I don't really know what it's about. Anyway, Springsteen is clearly he's a little bit depressed. He's a little bit fed up with being on the road. And his manager rents him this house in Colts Neck in New Jersey, and he's living there on his own. And he starts playing songs on his guitar and on his harmonica. And in the end, he ends up getting a 4-track cassette tape machine and records these songs in his bedroom, the songs that ultimately become the album Nebraska. And the film charts the progress of recording the songs and then trying to get CBS to put it out as an album, which they're not keen to do because it's a very low key thing. They think it should be done by the band. They want to capitalize on the success of The River and so forth. And it's about Springsteen's battle to get the album put out as he wants it to. In other words, using that raw material that he's recorded. No separate overdubs, no band activity, nothing in the studio, just what he recorded on the tape and put out. And I actually remember this happening at the time and buying the album, and I actually bought it on cassette. And there's a kind of, not interlude exactly, but a sort of subplot where he links up with a young lady called Amy who has a daughter, and they embark on a kind of sometime love affair, which in the end sort of not exactly peters out. Springsteen drops her and then moves to California. So it shows this period in Springsteen's life where he's suffering from a kind of depression, partly, according to the film, because he's looking back on his relationship with his father, Douglas, played absolutely stunningly by the Liverpool actor Stephen Graham, who only has about 2, maybe 3 lines in the film, and the rest of the time he's kind of smoking and sitting around being fat and not being very nice to the young Bruce Springsteen. So it's kind of the Springsteen of the film looking back on his childhood, his uneasy, difficult relationship with his father, and how this feeds into the kind of depression that he's feeling, and then his desire to put out this album. Now, where I thought the film really came alive, as I say, the first 15 or 20 minutes, I thought, I don't know where this film is going. I don't know what it's telling me. But he's in his living room in this house in Colts Neck, and he's watching Badlands. Now, I remember seeing Badlands, the film with Martin Sheen and Sissy Spacek. Martin Sheen plays a very young lad called Charlie Starkweather, and Sissy Spacek is his girlfriend, and they embark on this kind of murderous shooting spree, as I believe teenagers. And Springsteen is watching the film and the idea for the song that becomes Nebraska comes to him, and you see him, and he starts writing down some of the lyrics, and then he goes to the library and he looks up more details of the story of Charlie Starkweather. And there is a point, and I don't know whether this is what happened in real life, but there is a point at which Springsteen starts writing the song in the third person, and then you see it he crosses it out, and he says, I saw her standing on the front lawn, just twirling her baton. And then, in other words, he inhabits the character of Charlie Starkweather. And it made me think, actually, that Springsteen, who is this great a mouthpiece of the working man, the blue collar American steel worker, truck driver, highway patrolman, whatever it is done by a man who's never done a day's work as a blue collar worker. In other words, he got into music, he started to make money out of music, and then became a multi-millionaire out of music. But he has this uncanny ability not just to vocalize the life and thoughts of the working man, but to do it in the first person as if he is that person, even though in real life he's a multi-millionaire. And the film, and I've got to say, in the same way that I thought Timothée Chalamet was absolutely stunning as Bruce Springsteen, I originally thought this was going to be a kind of karaoke movie, but Jeremy Allen White, he inhabits the character of Springsteen. He understands Springsteen's kind of drawl, his kind of head slightly to one side, the kind of bashful nature that Springsteen has. There's a certain kind of imposter syndrome, perhaps in the early days. How has this unbelievable fame come to me? And his singing of Springsteen's songs, his vocalizing of the songs, Jeremy Allen White, is a stunning, absolutely stunning performance. You believe to a great extent that you are watching Springsteen. Jeremy Strong as John Landau, well, I just couldn't get out of my mind, the Kendall Roy from Succession. That voice, it sticks in your head, and he's got a kind of balding head, which I assume is the case in real life, and he's wearing these big kind of black rimmed glasses. He looks so much like Brains in Thunderbird. Do you remember Brains? Oh, Mr. Tracy. It's quite weird, actually. But he plays John Landau as a kind of he's a quiet character, but he's a strong character, and he very much fights Springsteen's corner with CBS. He says to CBS, well, this is what Springsteen wants to do, and our job is to make sure it happens like this. In other words, we put out this album without any overdubs, without any, he's not going to tour with it, he's not going to do any press with it, he's not going to promote it in any way. And CBS are like, oh Christ, why can't we just have Born in the USA as a great single? Why can't we have Born in the USA as the album that is later put out? Because many of the songs done during the period when he's writing Nebraska end up on Born in the USA, but obviously done with the band, whereas the songs on Nebraska, it's just Springsteen, his guitar, harmonica, some Echoplex on it, and it's recorded in his bedroom, and it goes to number 3 in the charts. In other words, it becomes a big success, and then Springsteen's career goes into the stratosphere with the release of Born in the USA and so on and so forth. So with some feelings that I had to start off with, that I didn't know if I was going to enjoy the film. I loved the film. I thought it was a really, really good film, a really powerful film. And it's a film, it's not so much a film about Springsteen. It's a film about a musician and about the creation of music. And in a way, you learn, I think, quite a lot about the creative process, how it happens, how a musician like Springsteen puts something together, and the kind of desire that they have to see their vision come to fruition, not on the page, but in this instant on a cassette tape. And it makes you go back to the music and listen to the original Nebraska and remind yourself of why you loved Springsteen in the first place. So, do you need to know Springsteen's music in order to enjoy the film? No, actually, I don't think you do. It obviously helps, but it's a film that stands in its own right. I think Stephen Graham's performance is superb. Springsteen mother, who you only see in a few scenes again, and maybe only has herself a couple of lines, and those scenes with his parents are filmed in black and white. She is superb. The young lady, the actress who plays Amy is very good as well. I don't know how much truth there is in that. I have read Springsteen autobiography, but I don't remember. So I can highly recommend the film. I thought it was really good. I saw it at the Oxted Everyman. It's 20 quid a seat. Do you need to pay that much? No. But if you can go and see it at the cinema, do, because the music is expansive. The music blows you away, and the visuals blow you away. It's beautifully filmed. It's beautifully shot. It's beautifully acted. It is a really, really, really good film. So there you are. I loved it.